sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Okay, I've got a question. What does a picturesque town of Stars Hollow, generational trauma, and snappy banter have in common? Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in the hit TV show Gilmore Girls, and we have a lot to talk about today. It's a different episode for us, but we're going to unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch? I'm no Taylor Dosey, but I am calling a town meeting today. The mega hit show Gilmore Girls has started airing on the Hallmark Channel, and although I'm usually joined with my co-host Josh to talk about Hallmark Channel Christmas movies, this time I booted him out and added my friend Christina because Josh has never seen the show. So Christina's a fellow Stars Hollow resident, and right out of the gate, I'll let you know that this is a spoiler zone podcast. So if you've never seen the show and you plan on watching it, or you're new to the show, proceed with caution. It's no secret to any of our podcast listeners that I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan. It's my all-time favorite show, ultimate comfort show. I put it on the background all the time like a podcast to me. So we're going to talk about each season. We're each bringing our favorite episode of the season to the podcast. So if you haven't watched it in a while and you want to reminisce with us, we'll tell you a little bit about our favorites and we'll go season by season and kind of just see what happens along the way. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce my friend and yours, Christina. Hi, Christina.
Hello. Hi. I'm so excited to hear.
So excited to have you. Can you tell me a little bit about your history with the show? When did you start watching? Like, not a specific date, unless you have that in your journal, but just kind of like what got you into it? Yeah.
So, and I knew this, but I realized it when I was watching some of my favorite episodes. Me and I were about the same age. So, like, I was going through life at the same time Rory was as the show was originally airing. And I also did not have cable television growing up.
Okay.
So any show that was like on network television, I watched. And of course, Gilmore Girls was on the on the WB? What was it originally
the WB
on?
and then
The WB.
it was WB
which
that,
I love the
that then
WB.
turned into the CW. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was a big fan of the WB and just started watching when I was in high school. And I was like, hey, I'm 16 too. You know, had a boyfriend and all this stuff. And I was like experiencing life. And I think that's kind of what kept me hooked. Obviously, I just love the show. It's like warm and cozy. But yeah, I think that's where it all began.
Great. So you watched it in real time as it was airing, the original run.
Yes, because I'm old.
Okay.
Jennifer. I'm older.
No, we're like the same age. Stop it.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're basically the same age. I didn't watch it in the very beginning. I remember seeing commercials for it, and I thought they were sisters. And it looked really touchy-feely to me in the promos, and I was like, I don't know about that, which of course it's not. I mean, there's heartfelt moments, but it's so much more than that. But I started watching it. It was in reruns on, I guess it was ABC Family. And I was in college.
ABC Family.
And they were showing the reruns. Whenever I just caught it like between my class schedule, it was the reruns of when Rory was starting college. And I was like, okay. Let me get into this.
Perfect.
And then I started going back. And at that point in time, before streamers were big, back in the day, I bought season 1 at Target on DVD because it was on sale, and I binged that, and then I would buy season 2, and then I got my wisdom teeth out, and my mom got me season 3.
Bless her.
So I just kind of, then I caught up with it. And so I saw part of season 7 in real time, but it was on when I had classes at night. So I didn't really see it all until it was over and done with. And then the revival I did see in real time. Yeah. And we'll get to the revival later too. So here's the plot summary from IMDb for the whole show. 7 seasons, a lot of content, and this is the synopsis. A dramedy centering around the relationship between a 30-something single mother and her teen daughter living in Stars Hollow, Connecticut.
That's
the end.
Brief. Wow. They really dug deep on that one.
Short and sweet.
AI generated?
So, I don't know. Yeah, it's IMDb AI maybe, but yeah. So basically, if you haven't seen the show and you don't want to watch the show, but you want to listen to the podcast, it's probably a very small sliver of listeners. But in case that's you, Lorelai is our main female lead, played by the Queen, Lauren Graham. And so she got pregnant when she was 15 or 16 to the rich boy. Her family is very well-to-do. She had her daughter Rory. She did not want to get married to the baby daddy Christopher, even though societal pressure encouraged her to do so. Caused a rift with her parents, Richard and Emily Gilmore, very well-to-do societal people. She moved away, took Rory with her, and kind of raised Rory on her own. Well, except she moved to Stars Hollow, Connecticut, where she found this community of townies and quirky characters along the way. And then when the show starts, Rory is 16, or about to turn 16, I guess.
Yeah, it's about to be her 16th
And
birthday.
and she needs money to get Rory accepted. She's super book smart, got accepted to a private school called Chilton, but Lorelai doesn't have the cash flow to fund it, so she has to ask her parents for money. And really, it's kind of like she's only seen them at holidays up to before the show starts in real times. They go, and the parents are like, "Yeah, we'll give you the money, but you have to come over for Friday night dinners every week," which is a big burden to Lorelai and Rory and their lifestyle. But they do it,
God
and
forbid.
then we see all of the hijinks that ensue along the way. Do you have
I'm
anything else to
ready.
say before we get started?
I don't
Okay.
think so. I hope I do it justice.
Season 1. What is your favorite episode from season 1?
So my favorite episode is Rory's dance. Is that on your list?
It's
Not on your
not,
list?
but
Okay,
especially in the early seasons, there's so many great ones.
there
And then my
are. It
love
really
kind
is
of
just,
does peter out, but
yeah, it's Gilmore Girls, as it should be. I mean, it's what started it all. Do you want like a synopsis? So Rory has been at Chilton for a while now, but she's not at all been accepted by her peers. So she's still kind of standoffish when it comes to like social events, and she knows she's supposed to be getting more involved, but like just doesn't really have a reason to because all these kids are being kind of jerks to her so far. And she's, I don't know, I wouldn't say she's doing amazing trying to integrate. I think it was probably something that her and her mom were just not prepared for. Like even though Lorelai knew the way these people were,
she knew that world, yeah, but seeing it
I don't think
firsthand,
anyone was
yeah.
prepared for how difficult it was going to be for her. But
Well,
they're
also
having to make her
Lorelai's so
do
much more outgoing than Rory. I mean, Rory is
totally.
definitely an introvert, especially in the early seasons. She's a book nerd. She
Yeah.
just wants to put her face. She has her best friend Lane, who lives in this town, but like she doesn't have
Mhm.
a big social circle. Whereas I bet Lorelai as a
Yeah.
high schooler had a big social circle.
Right. Lorelai's very like accept me as I am. I'm going to come at you like very authentically. And Roy's authentic, but she's just I think she's a bit more apologetic with her presence. And
Yeah.
she's 16. I mean, that's how I was at 16. Like you're one way or the
Yeah.
other. But and she does have a boyfriend, Dean, who went to Stars Hollow High, and they were like attracted to each other right before she switched schools. So she in the episode it starts off with her like trying to muster up the courage to ask Dean to go with her. At first she says she's not going to go, and then her grandmother Emily Gilmore really is encouraging her and thinks it's so important. Then on the drive home from Friday night dinner, Lorelai kind of starts into her like, are you sure you don't want to go? I don't want you to not go just because you're scared. And Rory's like, no, dances are stupid and you'll mock me and blah, blah, blah. And it comes down to, well, I don't have a dress. I says, I can make you a dress. So once she said that, Rory was a go. She made to get Dean on board because he's like just so in, just puppy love with Rory, like would do anything for her. A lot of the episode is kind of wound up between like Emily trying to like weasel her way into the event or at first convince Rory to go, and then Lorelai just trying to prove to her mom that they can let Rory make her own decisions. Even though Rory ends up making the decision Emily wants her to make, Lorelai's kind of caught between trying to stand firm and protect Rory's kind of privacy, like not giving her mom all the details over the phone but it does come out eventually that Rory's going. Emily's thrilled. They have plans for Emily to come over the night of the dance and take photos. And as it winds up, Lorelai has managed to hurt her back while she was working on the dress. And so Emily, once Rory heads off to the dance, then feels like she needs to stay and kind of like nurse Lorelai back to health, which Lorelai really did not want her to do. And I really got annoyed with Lorelai because I felt like her mom was really trying to like make an effort. I mean, she definitely,
I know.
I know if you're like not feeling great, you're on painkillers, you might just want like a night on the sofa. But her mom really did care about her that night and was like, why would I leave you here? You can't even get off the sofa. So yeah, so they end up spending the evening together. And then Rory and Dean go off to the dance. And the dance is just, when I was 16 and watching this, it was just too good. It was so good. And Rory's dress is really pretty and it's blue, which is a great color on her. And Dean is just super like chivalrous and kind of sick and like really fits the bill well for like great first boyfriend. I
Yes,
don't know. And
Dean
then
was the perfect first boyfriend. He was the
they got
first
really
boyfriend we
lucky.
all wanted.
They got
Yeah.
really lucky.
He was a
Yeah.
good guy. He respected Lorelai. He respected
Right.
because, and also
Kind
I
of
should have said
simple,
this,
but
Lorelai.
not dumb simple. I didn't feel like he was dumb. I mean, I know he got that rap,
Not in the
but
beginning. I think they
yeah,
make him dumb later.
they
They
really,
definitely
I
they
think
make him dumb.
I
But in the
totally
beginning, he
agree.
reads.
Totally agree.
They bond over, their love of novels and all this. And
Yeah,
Lorelai and Rory, their whole dynamic is they're more best friends than mother-daughter. So he
right.
respects that and like, buys into that, wants to impress Lorelai and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a
Totally.
big deal. But she had a curfew. She had to be back. And yeah, I appreciate that scene when Lorelai's making the dress and then she falls and the dummy falls on top of her, the mannequin or whatever, and then she pulls her back. I've pulled my back in the past year and it is dreadful. Like, and I
Yeah.
didn't even do any. I don't know how I did it. I could not get up
It's
off the
always the
floor. I
dumbest
was on all
thing.
fours
Yeah.
and I was down for days. I mean, I was just like it because you don't realize how it affects everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I did like Emily was really trying to extend an olive branch and be there for Lorelai, but Lorelai's just so
I think
bitter about
so.
all
She's
the.
just not having it. She's
I
just
love
not
Lorelai, but
having it
she's
at
not a perfect
all.
character. So if you're
She's
coming just to hear us
not.
gush about Lorelai, the older I get, the more I'm like, Emily was trying, girl. Like I used to be like, yeah,
Totally.
Emily's the worst. But now that I'm older, maybe Lorelai's age in that time and creeping up to Emily before you know it, I'm like,
Yeah,
she really had the best of intentions
I think
most
so.
of the time.
Most of
Yeah.
I mean, she definitely liked things her way, and she always felt like there was a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. There was very little gray area
Mm-hmm.
with Emily,
Yeah.
but yeah, I felt like this night Lorelai was just kind of being a brat. To be fair, she was in pain, and
Yeah.
that's not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the dance scene is great. They play one of my all-time favorite songs, "Fade Into You" by Matthew Starr. Didn't we
Yeah.
all want to slow dance with our high school boyfriends to that song and probably never got the
Of
opportunity to?
course. When did this come out? This show came out, it aired in 2000. And of course
Hmm.
it did. This is a very millennium show.
Yeah, yeah. They saw us coming a mile away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so the dance is really, really sweet. And then Tristan, who's this snooty but like cute guy who definitely has a thing for Rory, but Rory's not having it, kind of gets in Dean's face, and there's like a kerfuffle over her honor, and everyone's watching, and like she looks amazing and he looks strong and handsome and Tristan looks stupid, and like
Yeah.
it's just so good. You're like, yes, it was amazing. Oh, such a good episode. But then they
Yeah, and
leave the
Tristan was
dance.
Chad Michael Murray, who went on to be,
Yes,
king
One
of
Tree Hill.
WB on One Tree
Yeah,
Hill. Yeah.
yeah.
And he's in Hallmark movies because it all comes
Right.
full circle to Hallmark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I
Yeah.
know. But so the next scene is them. They've decided to leave a little bit early and like go for a walk together, get some coffee. And they end up at Miss Patty's dance studio because she's left it unlocked. And they end up sitting down, and Rory pulls whatever, I can't remember what book she had in her purse. She has this like gigantic book in her tiny little clutch.
What a nerd.
And they kind of like start flipping through it. And the next thing you know, they've fallen asleep. And Miss Patty comes in for her, whatever, 5 a.m. dance class, yoga class, whatever she's teaching that morning, and finds Rory and Dean, and panic ensues. And then you see Lorelai and her mom at Lorelai's house having a panic, and Emily just loses her cool, rips into Lorelai, had been so complimentary all night of Lorelai and her parenting and the dress and all this stuff. And then it just unleashes onto her because she thinks Rory and Dean have, you know, gotten into trouble that night and they're doing things they shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
doing. And how could Lorelai let this happen? So it ends in this awful fight with her and her mom after they had kind of a decent night together. And then Rory comes home And here's the tail end of the conversation with Emily and is like, Mom, thank you for, standing up for me. But then Lorelai rips into Rory,
How dare you? You made me look
which
terrible in front of my
I,
mom. You scared
yeah,
me. I
yeah.
didn't know where you were when we woke up. You didn't call, all this stuff. Yeah.
And Rory's like,
Generational
Mom, you
trauma.
know me. I know. Yeah. Thankfully, and I don't think I could have done this at 16, she calls her on it. She's like, Mom, you know
Mm-hmm.
me. You know nothing happened. This was a total accident. I'm sorry that I screwed up, but this is crap that you're
Yeah.
like laying into me right now because you know that this was an honest mistake. And the episode just kind of ends with like a slammed door. Roy goes to her room. Lorelai's sat at the kitchen table. Emily's probably huffing and puffing at home.
Emily's gone. Yeah, and she'd thrown out that she's going to ruin her life like you did or something like that because Emily
Yeah.
loves to bring up that Lorelai got knocked up early.
Yes. Yeah.
She loves Rory, but in earshot of Rory, she does love to bring up how much of a screw up it was that she got pregnant at 16. It's
Yeah.
bonkers that continues throughout the whole series, basically.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, they really
because in their mind,
it was
Lorelai
the
threw her
worst thing
life
that could
away.
ever happen. This was like probably their worst
Yeah.
nightmare.
It was their worst nightmare.
Nothing could have been worse for them.
Great one. I forgot all of that happens in the dance. Like, I remember the dance, but the fact that you get that great fight scene in the kitchen times 2. It's so good. Yeah. Good choice. Okay, so mine for season 1, and it's tough because I do think they're all really good. I picked the episode, it's called Kiss and Tell. So this happens actually earlier than your episode. On the next season, I might ask what the name of yours is, and we might try to talk about them in order, just so it's not going back and forth. But so this one is, the synopsis is when Rory neglects to tell Lorelai that she experienced her first kiss from Dean, Lorelai tries to overcome her hurt feelings and proves she's fine with their relationship. So basically, Dean and Rory have been flirting, and Dean works at Dosey's supermarket, the town market. And Rory sees him in the cornstarch aisle, and he kisses her for the first time.
Cornstarch, and
she freaks out. Doesn't she say thank you when he kisses her? And then she runs out and stole the cornstarch, didn't pay for it. And can you imagine, teenager gives her somebody their first kiss and she just flees the scene and commits a felony basically by stealing. Yeah, she says thank you. Well, then Rory goes and tells her best friend Lane. Now, Lane's Korean. Her mom is every stereotype of Korean super strict mom who runs the antique shop. Lane's mom overhears Rory saying, "I kissed a boy." Well, then when Lane's mom sees Lorelai, she's like, well, I don't really trust your parenting because Rory's kissing a boy in the supermarket, and Lorelai is dumbfounded. And to this point, Lorelai and Rory have been like simpatico. They know everything about each other. And this is the first time Rory's hiding something from Lorelai. That's a big deal. And so she's hurt and she's mad and she's like, who is this guy? So then she goes and like stalks Dean at the supermarket and is like hiding behind, trying to get a peek at him. She's like, I don't like the way he's handling those beans or, something. He's too rough with that while he's putting them in the grocery cart. So Luke is the everyman curmudgeon who runs Luke's Diner, that even if you've never seen the show, you know Luke's Diner because it's on every piece of merch known to man. But he owns the diner. He was in there. And at this point in the series, Luke and Lorelai have just like a friendly banter back and forth, always with like a slight bit of sexual chemistry underlying it at all times.
It's true.
It's weird. But he's giving her crap, like, stop spying on this kid. Well, then later that one night, I don't know when it was, they run into Dean at the grocery store because they were going to watch Willy Wonka as a girls' movie night. He goes to get snacks. Lorelai introduces herself and says, hey, Dean, why don't you come over to our house to watch the movie with us without talking to Rory first? Dean says
pushy.
yes.
I remember
Rory's
being so
mortified.
How pushy she was being. Yeah.
So she's so embarrassed because I guess Rory did then finally tell her about the kiss, but
under duress.
Lorelai's trying to yeah. Lorelai's like, oh, I got to meet this guy immediately, and they haven't even been on a date yet, and please come over and have Wonka night with my mom.
Unacceptable.
Without me knowing it. Oh my gosh, it's so cringy.
I die.
So Rory's mad. She's like, well, I guess we're doing it because he said yes. So let's go and let's clean the house and get set up. And what do I wear for a casual movie night and all this stuff? And then they're like, where's Dean? Well, Dean got hijacked by the neighbor. Oh, what's her name? I can't think of it. Sugar.
Babette?
The one that talks like this.
Babette.
Babette and Maury live next door, and Babette's like the town gossip. So Dean hadn't even gotten to the house because Babette's jabbers on at him. So they have to apologize for that. He comes in. They watch Willy Wonka. Rory goes to the bathroom, and Lorelai's like, giving him the business, like, what are your intentions, basically. And I appreciate because he kind of dishes his back. He's like, whether you like it or not, am really interested in your daughter, and you can get the whole town to hate me if you want, but I'm not going anywhere. And she was like, I respect that. But she's not riding on your motorcycle. And he's like, I don't even have a motorcycle. She's like, she's not riding on your motorcycle because Christopher, her baby daddy, had a motorcycle. And so it's like bringing up
So of
all of
course he
her
has to have a
trauma again.
motorcycle. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the date night goes well, though. And then at the end, Rory tells Lorelai all the details about the kiss and saying thank you and all of that. So it's a fun episode for me. It makes me cringe and laugh at the same time. So it's
Yeah,
one of my
I love that.
faves.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you kind of get I think the movie nights were like a really core part of like the coziness in their life. And they had just this like endless amount of movies that they had watched and had rewatched. And I'm like, when are they watching all these movies? And they quoted
Right.
them, and it was just very much a part of like how they connected. So you kind of get a little slice of
Yes.
that
And they
as
could
well.
eat mountains of sweets and still
Yeah.
look like $1 million.
And then, and burgers and Al's Pancake
Yeah.
World and
Yes. All the junk. All the
Yeah.
junk food all the time. Never
Yeah.
worked out, just looked good.
reality
Good
was
genes, I guess.
suspended in that.
Those Gilmore genes really were working hard. Steeped in money and high metabolism, the Gilmores. Okay, season 1 ends. Lorelai is dating a guy named Max, who is Rory's teacher that we didn't even talk about. But Max proposes to Lorelai with 1,000 yellow daisies, and I love that scene. Season 2 begins with, what was her answer? Okay, so let's go. What was your favorite episode from season 2?
Mine is episode 4, which is the road trip to Harvard.
Okay. Mine are after that. So you go first. You talk about
Okay.
that.
So, big spoiler alert here, which I think everyone would figure out. But Lorelai decides not to marry Max at the last minute, in true Lorelai fashion. And so she barges into Rory's room. I think this is an episode prior to the road trip to Harvard, because the road trip to Harvard starts with them in the car. But the
In the
episode
car,
before,
yeah. So it ends.
she's got Rory packing.
Yeah, because the one before was the bachelorette party, and she starts to freak out at the bachelorette party because she didn't want to try on her wedding dress and didn't want him to really have much of a say in how to parent Rory, and didn't really want him living in their house. And Lorelai just got big time freaked out about it.
Right. So the episode opens with them in the car, driving a bit aimlessly. They've packed all of this gear because they don't know where they're going and what the weather's going to be like and what they're going to end up doing. And Lorelai remembers that she has a friend in the area, like near where they are, that has a bed and breakfast because she's in the hospitality industry working at the inn.
Yes.
They pull up to this B&B called the Cheshire Cat. And her friend that she was thinking of no longer runs this. It is this lady named LaDawn who has taken over, has renamed it the Cheshire Cat. And they check into their room that has like so much floral. They're like, the flowers are moving. And LaDawn's like, yeah, there's metallics in the wallpaper. So they look like they're like talking to you. And they're all like,
it's like
really?
A fever dream.
Yeah. And they start to get ready to go back downstairs, I think to go out to get food, but they're afraid of running into everyone in the lobby who's gathered for like drinks and aperitifs, all sorts of stuff. So they end up staying in the room starving, which I cannot imagine doing. Like it's just, there's no version of my reality where I would like lay in a hotel room hungry. Like I would just figure out a way to get out.
Yeah,
but
I would deal with some awkward small talk, and I would go to the nearest restaurant.
Lorelai finds like a certs in her purse, and that's it.
Yeah. And it's like fuzzy. Didn't she say it's a fuzzy certs?
Yes.
She's gonna eat it.
Tasted like keys.
So gross. It tasted like keys.
Did that one time. Side story, when I had moved to grad school abroad and I needed a Sudafed, and they did not sell Sudafed in England. I found a fuzzy Sudafed at the bottom of my purse that I swear saved
There you
my life.
go.
Like I was like, that cured me. I just needed like a dose of the whatever illegal drug is in Sudafed.
Just like a whiff of the Sudafed, and the fuzzy texture maybe made it stick to your innards more.
Oh. But they decide to just turn in for the night and sleep, but they're not really tired. And so Rory tries to get Lorelai to talk a little bit about Max and calling out the engagement. And Lorelai is just super childish, I feel like. And it's okay that you don't want to talk yet,
Very.
but it's just the way she pushes Rory off. And like they kind of get in this, they end up in kind of a fight and they kind of go to bed a little cranky, but they wake up the next morning and they were sleep deprived, they were hangry. Like I think they both realized that there was a lot stacked against them right before they went to sleep that night. So they kind of start fresh the next morning and they decide where they're going to go for the day. And Lorelai looks at the map and goes, I know where we're going to go. And she surprises Rory and they pull up to the gates of none other than Harvard University, where Rory is hoping and dreaming of going to college one day. So basically the whole episode is them just kind of poking around, and Rory is just very much a rule follower, which I can absolutely identify with. She's like, we can't just walk into Harvard. You need a guide. You need to let people know you're here. And Lorelai's Lorelai. And like, no, like, let's just go in. Like, let's buy a coffee. Let's look at the bulletin board. Let's walk into this person's dorm. Let's sit in on a lecture. And
I know.
it's classic
And things just work
Lorelai.
out for her. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fine. No one gets in trouble. They have a great day.
Mm-mm.
Lorelai has like a reflection moment looking at pictures of graduates. And I think she's looking at the year where she maybe would have graduated had she gone to college. And she looks a little like "Meh," about it, but
Yeah.
it passes and they head back to Stars Hollow. By then, the word has gotten around that the wedding is off. And I think Miss Patty was the one who did most of the
Yeah.
word spreading on that. Sookie told Luke, who's like carrying a torch for her by then, and he's so happy that he allows Kirk to sit there for like his 9th cup of coffee, and coffee's on the house. Like he's thrilled basically to
Mm-hmm.
hear that the wedding's
Yeah.
off. But Lorelai gets back home. Luke had built her the chuppah for her wedding, and it's just sitting
The
right
chuppah.
there at the entrance of their house. And Lorelai really realizes, like, nothing's changed. I came back, and now we have to deal with the aftermath of my decision. But in the episode, she says several times, like, I'm sure, like, I know that he's not the right guy for me. I wish so badly that I loved him. It wasn't my goal to blow up our life, but it just wasn't right. But the road trip to Harvard is
Yeah.
really the highlight for me of this episode. And the Cheshire Cat's pretty funny too, because that lady's just wacky, and
The Cheshire
the
Cat's
whole
very funny. And don't they
the
write
whole
like some
setting is
inappropriate things in
wacky.
the guest book?
They
And like
do.
they're
They
not
do.
B&B lifestylers. And we've talked about B&Bs in these Hallmark movies, and we're like, no, thank you. Like
It's a no-go for
just like
me.
mingling with random people is
That
probably
sounds
not my
awful.
jam.
No,
Like I
that's
want to
not a
go to my room
vacation
and
to me.
relax. Yeah.
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 I don't want
But
to
some people are
feel
really
like
into
I
it.
have to keep up. Yeah. Yeah. All those people seem to enjoy it and they love getting to know each other, but I wouldn't want to do that either.
I'd order DoorDash and just like creep down and grab it like a
Yeah,
gargoyle.
I climb out the
But this
window.
was 2001, so they didn't have
I
DoorDash yet.
know,
Yeah.
they didn't.
Poor Lorelai. Okay, so my favorite episode of the season is literally the next episode. It's called Nick and Nora / Sid and Nancy. And this is the synopsis. Luke takes in his wild 17-year-old nephew, Jess, ignoring Lorelai's well-intentioned advice, and Rory is drawn to the new guy in town. Spoilers abound in these synopses.
Enter Jess.
Yeah, so Luke has never been married, he doesn't have any kids, but his sister calls him in a tizzy and is like, you gotta take this kid off my hands. He's getting into wild trouble. We don't really know what that is. It seems like it was pretty mild and tame.
Like kind of PG, yeah.
But very much. But she puts him on a bus and sends him to Uncle Luke's in Stars Hollow, and this kid gets off the bus. It's Milo Ventimiglia. He just had this like James Dean bouffant hair, jean
Such a bad boy.
jacket, you know.
Yeah.
Such a bad boy. Had like cigarettes in his sleeve, basically, you know, or behind his ear. He had a cigarette behind his ear. It looks like, no, you're not
It's
smoking.
too
Luke's all,
good.
you know, like,
It's too good.
what do I have to do? Like, he's buying all this stuff for a kid, and he doesn't know how to. He's like, kids have jam on their hands. I don't know how to be around kids. And Lorelai's like trying to calm him down. She's like, I think he's past the jam hands phase. He's 17, but like trying to integrate Jess into the town, and he hates it. He's miserable. He's upset his mom just like, banished him basically. His dad left however many years ago, and now he's stuck with Luke. He doesn't really know Luke that well, but he does get introduced to Rory because they're the same age, and he likes him some Rory because Lorelai is like bring everybody together. So she has Sookie, her best friend, aka Melissa McCarthy, and her husband come over, and they make food. They're gonna have a cookout or whatever with Luke and Jess, and everybody meet, and Jess hates everything. He tries to sneak a beer. He, is just not into the townies bit of it, but he does like Rory, and Rory reads, and I guess that's unique to him. So I just really, I don't know. There's a lot of good banter in this. There's a lot of story building that begins here. Like, I really feel like the season 2 really starts here. Like, I feel like the first episodes that
Mhm.
you just talked about could have been at the end of season 1 if they'd had enough time, because
Yeah.
really the act break, we were done with Max, and now we're going on to the Jess era. If it's a Taylor Swift tour, we're in the Jess era now. Because Rory is still very much with Dean, but you can tell she kinda likes Jess back, and what are we gonna do
Yeah.
with that
She's
and those
curious.
teenage feelings? She's a little Jess curious. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, that is my favorite from season 2.
Love it.
Alright, honorable mention, I also love the Bracebridge dinner
I was thinking
where
about the Bracebridge dinner tonight. I was like,
I
maybe Jennifer
know.
picked that one. It's a really good
I should have.
quintessential Gilmore Girls episode.
Yeah. Lorelai runs the inn with Sookie, and basically one big corporate party gets snowed in, so they bought all this food to have this big Renaissance-themed dinner, and the people can't come, so she invites, like, basically the whole town to the inn to have a sleepover, and it also Gilmore Girls doesn't I mean, they have, I think, one Christmas episode that's not even that great. It's in season 7.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rest are, like, more wintry episodes, but this is the closest Christmas adjacent episode. Like, there's a sleigh ride and lights and
Agree.
stuff and just lots of, townies bonding and laughing and things like that. So that's
It's
a
a good
definite
one.
honorable mention.
Good
Yeah.
honorable mention.
Yeah. Okay, so season 2 ends. Sookie and Jackson get married. Christopher comes back into the picture, and Lorelai and Christopher are going to get back together. Except Christopher at Sookie's wedding, like Lorelai and Rory are about to walk down the aisle. Christopher gets a call from his on again, off again girlfriend, who we thought was off again, that she's pregnant, and he has to go. And Lorelai's crush, Rory, had like this, flirtmance with Jess that Dean was super jealous of. They make Dean dumber as season 2 progresses to
Yeah,
up
real
the Jess
meatheady.
factor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they make him jealous. They make him really more aggro. And then there was a night that Rory was supposed to help Jess study because he was super book smart, but like super lazy at school because he's too cool for it.
Yeah.
So she was trying to help him study. They went out for ice cream. Jess drove her car, swerved, and missed hitting an animal, but crashed her car, totaled her car. She broke her wrist, and the whole town freaks out. And
The car that Dean
Jess is
had built her.
basically Dean had built this car. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jess is then banished. Luke puts him on the bus back home because he's causing too much havoc. He'd also done some killer pranks like stealing gnomes and drawing chalk outlines of bodies, just like hijinks in the town. Nobody liked Jess, okay? Rory is the only one he was nice to and the only one who liked him. So he
Right.
goes away. Well, at Sookie's wedding for the season 2 finale, he's like lurking in the bushes and she sees him. And even though she's at this wedding with Dean, runs off to kiss Jess for the first time. And then Jess leaves. And so the season 2 ends with Lorelai and Rory both very conflicted about their love lives, walking down solemnly on Sookie's happiest day of her life, like the worst bridesmaids
It's all
ever.
about them all the time. Yeah.
It is all about them. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then we start season 3, which picked up in 2022. Christina, what's your favorite episode from season 3?
So episode 7, it's entitled They Shoot Gilmores, Don't They? And it's this 24-hour dance marathon that Lorelai has repeatedly tried to win and has been thwarted every year by Kirk. Which, can we talk about Kirk for like a hot minute?
Please, we need to. We haven't talked about him yet. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, in rewatching this, really don't know how much. I mean, Kirk is quirky. Kirk is quirky. But I really don't know how much flavor he really added to the show, and he just kind of annoys me.
He's a polarizing character. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
and
he's
I
like
don't ever remember hating him, and I don't hate him now.
Mhm.
But I was just like, why is this guy around? Like, what is he serving?
Especially in
Is
this
he
episode. He was
comedic?
he was almost mean in this episode too.
He was.
He's
It
not
was
usually
just.
mean.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I was really annoyed by
Yeah.
Kirk in this episode, whereas normally I'll let him pass. But I was like, hey, what is
Kirk
this?
is the
I don't
townie who's like a
understand.
big goofus, and he's at every event. He has every job in town. Like they did this
Always a
whole
new
like
odd job.
theater thing. If they needed, instead of casting like an extra, they would make Kirk work the beauty shop. He worked the candy store. He worked like he worked at the movie store, he worked
He has like a
everything, and it was just kind
rickshaw
of a bit.
business at one point. Like
Yeah, it was just a bit
he
of the
runs
show,
the
and
internet
he's
and cable lines.
yeah. So in the beginning, I heard some interview. I don't remember if it was on the Gilmore Guys podcast or if this was an Amy Sherman-Palladino who wrote it, showrunner interview. But basically, they cast him for that internet guy in one episode as a one-off, but they liked him so much they wanted to keep bringing him back, and so they wrote him in, and then he becomes in the title credits. Like he's a big, not big
He's
character
a
as far as time goes, but like
he's a recurring character. Yeah.
he's in the whole series. Yeah, he's in the whole series run, and he's James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn. Who's also in what are those movies? The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I think.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's crazy how many
right.
of these people have gone on to do huge things,
Kind
because
of big
watching this
things.
little
Yeah, that was a
WB
big
show,
thing.
it's like you would not know Sookie would go on to be the Melissa McCarthy of like
Right.
comedic
Bridesmaids.
fandom
Yeah.
blockbusters. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would never know it.
True.
So
True.
it's crazy. Anyways, I'm sorry. Kirk
Okay.
annoyed you.
That
Yes.
was my I don't know why. I kind of feel bad, but anyway, not that bad.
Don't feel
So the
bad.
whole
Kirk's
thing
not
is
gonna listen. It's okay.
the 24-hour dance contest. They have to stay moving for 24 hours. Through different misadventures, Lorelai ends up begging Rory to be her partner. Rory agrees, even though she's bummed because it was going to be Dean's first time seeing the 24-hour dance competition, and she
Yeah,
really
and they were
wanted
just
to
gonna
like
sit
sit
and
with
watch it.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I love this episode. I love how they come looking like kind of old-fashioned-y or like retro-y, vintagey. I think they look really cute. They always stood out in my mind. I think there's lots of fun side stories going on, like Dave Rogowski and Lane. They're trying to like not date, whatever version of dating can exist in Lane's universe. Like she likes this guy in her band, and he's showing
And
up
that's Adam
pretending to be like,
Brody, right?
yes.
Yes. Yeah, she loved him. He was great, but Mrs. Kim, her strict Korean mother, didn't want her dating anybody who wasn't Korean. So they
Right.
were like
Yeah.
secretly flirting and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's so sweet, and he like reads the Bible cover to cover to try and like ask her out in another episode. And
Yes.
yeah. And then Paris is dating this guy named Jamie, who she had like one date with during the summer internship. So there's some like fun other little side stories, but the main thing is the dance contest and the tension between Jess and Rory and Dean. And it's just such an amazing love triangle. And of course, Dean shows up to support and watch Lorelai and Rory dance. And then Jess comes with his annoying side piece, Shane. I don't think she was even a girlfriend. She
Shane.
doesn't earn that title. But
Yeah.
I think she worked at the beauty shop, and she has like
Yeah,
bleached blonde
yeah.
hair, and she's just you can tell she probably would have bugged you in high school too. I would have been bugged by her too.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no
Not our
shame.
kind of people.
So
That's
they're just
Shane.
sitting
Yeah.
there kind of brooding. And I think what I realized in rewatching it was that the more sleep deprived Rory gets, the more unhinged she becomes in just being really like vocal to Dean about how
Yeah.
annoyed she is by Jess. And I'm like, girl, you are like really not finding it well. Like, no wonder, you know. And
Yeah.
at one point, Lorelai breaks her heel on her shoe, has to pull her emergency cart, and Lorelai pulls Dean in to hold Rory up because it's like the 23rd hour. Jess is still sitting there with Shane leering at them. And Dean's like so happy that Rory's just like resting on him and he gets to like dance with her. I'm like, poor guy. Just, you
Yeah, because after Jess and Rory kissed, they kissed at the end of season 2, and then, Jess was back, and Luke had given him the riot act, like, if you're going to come back to Stars Hollow, things have to change. You're not Mr. Cool Guy anymore. And he was like, fine, I want to come back, though. So Luke lets him move back, but that we don't hear anything else about the Rory and Jess of it all.
Right.
It's, they exchange, like, tense glances and things, and then she gets jealous that he has a girlfriend when she's still dating Dean. Because she's entitled.
Classic.
That she kind of starts treating Dean like crap, like really,
Totally.
and Dean feels it, and he knows, but he doesn't want to admit it, and he's kind of like, Rory wouldn't cheat, right, Lorelai? Like confiding in Lorelai about it. She's like, no, but Lorelai's kind of like, I don't know, because I don't even think she knew that they kissed, but she could tell.
I don't think
like,
she did, yeah.
She knew Rory had eyes for Jess, but Lorelai hates Jess, so she wants him to her to stay with Dean. She's definitely team Dean. So yeah, it's all brooding up to this moment on the dance
It's
floor.
building. And I think Rory spends some time in that season trying to convince herself that she knows she
Mhm.
should stay with Dean. I mean, there's episodes where she's talking with her mom, like, look, Dean uses nice full sentences. And Jess is using
Yeah.
one word conversation.
Yeah.
They're openly comparing them. So it's like not really a secret, especially not to Lorelai. But yeah, so Rory's kind of delirious and sleep deprived and probably dehydrated. And she's just at her wits' end with Jess, and Dean snaps. And he's like, you know what? Have at it, you guys. I'm out. I can't pretend to not notice this anymore. Shane, you should be listening too.
Yeah.
And I'm gone. And he kind of makes a big scene. And I remember it, but it really hit me when I was rewatching that, like, that's super embarrassing. I mean, there weren't a ton of people left in the dance contest, but there's still a lot of key players in the town, in the gym at that
Miss
point.
Patty was
And
still
it's a
there.
very,
That's all you need
yeah,
to know. If
yeah,
you made a scene
yeah.
in front of Miss Patty, the whole town knows in 5 seconds.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it's a pretty public, humiliating breakup for both of them. But Dean raises his voice, and you can tell when Rory runs off the dance floor, therefore ruining Lorelai's chance at the trophy once again. Kirk wins
Because
again.
the Gilmore Girls are
Kirk.
selfish.
They really are.
And
They like,
the older I am, the more I realize they are very selfish
no, I'm like, you could have made
individuals,
it another like
self-serving.
30 minutes for your mom. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Rory runs off to the creek where her and Jess have chatted before, and Jess follows her. Thankfully, because how awful would it have been to have your boyfriend dump you and then the other guy not even follow you to where you're from?
Right.
But he finds her and he goes,
Yeah.
Dean's a jerk, doing that in front of everyone. I was like, yeah, that was kind of like not cool, but also
You're Jess,
push
and you're
just
kind of
kind
a
of
jerk
came to
too.
shove.
Yeah.
But I do think I could see on Jess's face that he did feel a little bit bad that it like went down that
Yeah.
publicly, and that Rory got humiliated. Like, I don't think he intended
Yeah.
for that to happen. And the
Yeah.
episode ends just with him saying, are you for sure broken up with Dean? And she goes, yeah, I'm really broken up with Dean. He goes, well, I've got to go take care of something. And so
I gotta go
presumably
break
he's
up with
gonna go
my
dump
side
poor
piece.
Shane, who wasn't even like dumpable, like a real
No, Shane's
girlfriend.
probably like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I wonder what actress played her.
I know. I'm sure she's brilliant.
Truly. But yeah, I love that episode. I love the dance contest. I hate that. By then I was so team Jess, to be honest with you. I was so ready for her to just be with Jess that I was like, why are you
I know. What are
stringing
we
Dean
doing?
along?
Yeah.
We've outgrown Dean. Dean was great for that
Yes.
time. We can appreciate Dean for what he was, but you obviously need to be with Jess. And so I
Dean's
was
the
glad to see that.
perfect first boyfriend, and he had his time, and then it was time to go, and she needed a little bit of a bad boy in Jess.
Yeah.
And Alexis
it's about
Bledel
time.
and Milo Ventimiglia dated in real life in and around this time, so their chemistry was just so much better, of
So
course.
good.
Like, you had to,
Yeah.
I'd never dated a bad boy, but you had to root for Jess. I had to be Team Jess at this point because
Yeah.
he still had a heart, And when him
Yeah.
and Luke will banter back and forth, it does always make me smile because they're both so similar in their like curmudgeonly ways that they can
Really
kind of like
are.
dish it out and take it from each other, and so
Yeah.
it's a good uncle nephew dynamic too.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm trying to think what else happens in the interim of this. I mean, obviously, Rory and Jess start dating. Lorelai's not happy, but I think she says at one point, it was time for a Jess. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, she's probably secretly hoping it won't last that long. Let's get it out of her system and move on. But, and hopefully she doesn't end up like me and get pregnant along the way. But there's, at this point, up till now, Rory was still going to go to Harvard. It was always Harvard. Well, Richard, her grandpa, went to Yale, and Emily did too. They met at Yale. So Richard arranges like this secret meeting for Rory. Like, they tour Yale's campus because they're there for a football game, and he introduces Rory to bigwig on the admissions team at Yale, and Lorelai and Rory get super pissed because he went behind their back to do that, but he's like strong-arming Yale. Yale. Well, then they both start to kind of consider, if she goes to Yale, it's closer. She could live at home if she wanted to, and the Gilmores are kind of getting into their heads about all of this. So I think leading up to my next episode, it was kind of this like they'd applied to both schools. I think she'd gotten accepted to both schools. Which school was she going to go to? Also, Paris, her frenemy from Chilton, who's super book smart, does all the extra things. And we haven't even talked about Paris really in
We
detail, but
haven't.
Paris is
So much stuff.
so you hate her, but also like her parents are terrible rich people that aren't involved. Like she's raised by a nanny and she's got issues, right? And she'll be so good to Rory, and then in the next episode she'll like totally find something to hate Rory for or get jealous of her for. And so they kind of go tit for tat through high school. Paris does not get into Yale. And it's a no, she didn't get into Harvard. I'm sorry. She didn't get into Harvard. She has a meltdown on like some C-SPAN broadcast
It's
of
such a
like,
good
you know,
meltdown. It's such a good
she'd
crash
slept with
out.
her. Yeah, she slept with her. She crashed out before that was a term. Yes, she'd slept with her boyfriend, and she didn't think he would appreciate her anymore because she kind of like, you know, gave away the milk or whatever that saying is. Why buy
Gave
the
away the
cow when the milk is
before buying
free
the
or whatever.
cow.
Yeah, she'd done that, and she'd had this, you know, she was at a crossroads, didn't know what to do. Okay, then at the end of the episode before the one I'm talking about, Lorelai and Rory checked the mail, and Rory had gotten accepted to both Yale and Harvard, and what is she going to do? Okay, so that leads us to episode 17. It's called A Tale of Poes and Fire. So Lorelai must find rooms for the guests at the Independence Inn when a fire breaks out during a meeting of the Edgar Allan Poe Society. So Lorelai runs this inn. And her and Sookie, they're best friends. Sookie's the chef, Lorelai's the admin person, had always had these big dreams of starting their own inn. They knew even what property they were going to buy and fix up, but that all takes money. So it kind of get pushed to the side, on and on and on. Well, this fire breaks out at the inn they run, displaces everyone. So we get the Edgar Allan Poe societies in town, which are people who are very into Edgar Allan Poe, which might be stereotypically what you would expect. They're, you know, they're
Those people
quoting the
from New
Raven all
England.
over town. Yeah, they're wearing all black. They got the little Edgar Allan Poe mustache. They're quoting stuff all over town. And so then the townies have to step up and open their homes to them. And I love anytime townies, we get a townie heavy episode. If the townies are doing townie things,
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
happy camper.
A lot of
So we're
flavor
trying to
there.
figure out who's going to go where. But also, this episode is really good at driving the plot forward that, like, because we find out at the end, the inn is not, or maybe it's the next episode, the inn's not coming back. Like, the inn has been damaged so much with this fire that the owner is like, I'm kind of thinking about retiring or selling it anyway. So this is just a sign I'm done. So you get a little severance package, guys, and it's Lorelai and Sookie, and then we haven't even talked about Michelle. Michelle is the snobby Frenchman who runs the front desk and is one of their, you know, again, frenemy besties at work. And they're all kind of without a future. What are we going to do? So this spawns them into starting the next phase of they're going to buy an old property in Stars Hollow and develop the Dragonfly Inn. And this was the catalyst for that. If this fire hadn't happened, who knows if that would have taken place, right? In Stars Hollow world. So, yeah. Also, we get Lorelai gave up her bed and I guess all the beds in her house, the Poe people. So she ends up wandering the streets of Stars Hollow, like throwing rocks at Luke's window to see if she can sleep with him because he lives in the apartment above the diner. Because again, their chemistry is off the charts at this point.
Right.
He lets
And
her
she
sleep
always
with him.
goes to
She's like,
him when she has a
yeah.
problem.
Luke is Mr. Fix-It. She could have gone to Sookie. She could have gone
No,
anywhere.
she goes to him like it's her boyfriend. Every time, like at the dance thing in my episode, her shoe
Yep.
breaks. She runs over to Luke. And I'm like, why is he got to fix your heel?
Episode 2, they do this like fashion show thing with the PTA at the Independence Inn, and Luke builds the stage for her, and then she gets jealous always if Luke gets a girl, but she's not dating Luke. These Gilmore Girls, they're so territorial,
It's so,
but they're dating the wrong people. They want the guys they
Totally.
don't have, and they're selfish, but we love them. But the older I am, the more I do see it. So she ends up sleeping in the bed with Luke just as friends. And then Jess is on like the, you know, air mattress, and she tells Rory the next day, your boyfriend snores. Like she didn't get any sleep. She's bunking up with these losers. Rory has to try to entertain the children who have been displaced by the fire, the Poe children with like sock puppets that are literally like her socks on her hands, and she's
Which
awful
Rory's
with
not
kids,
a kid
and that's it.
person. She's
No. Sookie just takes over Luke's diner and starts making whatever meal she was going to make at the inn for the Poe people. And he's like, I guess you're taking over. Like, they're the queens of the town. These girls run amok over these guys in this show.
They do.
So all of that is really satisfying for me. And then at the end, I'm almost positive I should have gone back and watched the whole thing. I just scanned through. I'm pretty sure at the end of this is when Rory decides that, because they make a pro-con list of Harvard versus Yale, and then she decides it's Yale. And they decide together, yeah, it's Yale. We didn't think it was, but it's Yale. So that leads us to the end of season 3. I don't remember how does season 3 end?
Is it just,
I need to look
are
it
they
up.
going, does she graduate high
Oh, that would be she graduates.
school?
Yeah, she graduates high school. That's a good episode too. Her graduation is good. It makes me teary. And then they're going to
Yeah.
go on their backpacking trip across
Right.
Europe. Oh, Rory and Jess break up because turns out Jess not the best boyfriend. He takes off to
Emotionally
go.
unavailable.
Yeah, he takes off to
Shocking.
go find his dad who lives in Venice Beach, I think it was.
Yeah,
And there's that
California.
spin-off episode that's just him in California. Just shows up on a
Yes.
beach in a full leather jacket and pants, traipsing around California to meet see his dad and like dad's new family and all this. That was a backdoor pilot for a Jess spin-off TV show that didn't
Was
get
it
picked up.
really?
I
That
found
would
that
have
out
been
later and it
awful.
seems, I hate that episode. It seems so out of place. I don't want to meet new
Why
characters,
would
but
we
that's
want
what
to
it
see a
was.
whole new show about Jess without Rory in it? Why would I
Somebody must have thought we did,
care?
but
Well,
not
I'm
enough
glad that
people
didn't come
because
to
it didn't
fruition
get
because
picked up. It didn't
no
get picked
interest
up.
there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, and then in the end, let's see, Rory makes a moving valedictory speech on graduation day. Rory discovers Lorelai is making a huge sacrifice to pay for her tuition. Oh, because then they have the whole thing again. How are we going to pay?
We have to
for
renew our
Yale?
contract with the Gilmore.
We have to. So yeah.
Our tuition contract.
So Rory ends up going to Richard and Emily and saying, because the whole deal was, we will pay for Chilton. Richard and Emily would pay for Chilton. You will come for Friday night dinners to get her through high school. Well, now that was almost up, what are we going to do? And it turned into Rory going to them saying, can I renew my contract? I will promise to come. I'm not promising my mom, but I will come for Friday night dinners if you'll pay for Yale. Of course, they were happy to oblige. And they get her a car. And then Luke has second thoughts.
How
he was
terrible
dating this
for her.
other girl at the time, the lawyer girl. And he was going to go on a
Yeah.
summer cruise with her, but he wasn't sure if he needed to, and whatever. There was also an episode where there was a party that Lane's band was playing at, where Jess makes advances at Rory that I'm unhappy with.
It's an ick episode. Things just kind of start to go south for them. He's emotionally unavailable, and then he makes this like pass at her that's unwanted and like so not the time or place if you're gonna be making
It was,
passes like that. And it just
yeah, he took her to like a room at this like this kid's
some
house whose parents
stranger's
were out of
house.
town.
Like another
Yeah,
person's
and she's like,
bedroom.
not now, not like this for our first
Yeah.
time. Are you kidding me? And then he gets super defensive and was like, I don't know what you want, Rory. And he storms down the stairs. Dean is dating Lindsay, another girl in town, sees them running down the steps, sees Rory upset, assumes that Jess was up to no good because he was. And doesn't he start they get into a fight, don't
Yeah,
they? In this kid's house.
Yes, they get into a
And
fight.
chaos breaks out. Like,
and make a mess in the
collectibles
yard.
broken, Hummels are flying around. Yes.
They break
my
the
gosh,
fence.
yes.
But this is a good note. I'm glad you brought this up because the next day, Lorelai and Rory are walking in front of the scene of the party and the whole like fight. And Lorelai starts singing to Rory, "Did you ever know that you're my hero?"
Yeah. She's like, you spawned this
Because
fight? Like, they were fighting
you
over
caused
you?
all
Two
this
boys were fighting over you?
catastrophe. Like, yeah.
My gosh. Yeah, and then Lane got
Which is a
drunk
funny
because
moment.
she'd never had alcohol. And of course, there was a keg at this place, at this party, and Lane's thrown up in a bush, and her mom caught her being drunk. And it was very CWWB, like penultimate episode in that regard.
Yeah.
Also, there was another episode where Jess was supposed to come meet Emily for dinner, and he shows up with a black eye, but it turns out a swan attacked him.
Yes.
But Rory assumes that, he'd gotten into a fight with Dean because they had altercations, and then he gets mad. It's like, Jess was not a good boyfriend to Rory. I was more team Jess
messy.
before they started dating. Yeah.
I know.
So,
yeah. And that's how guys are.
Yes, that's just how it is. So that's how season 3 ends. Okay. To be clear, seasons 1 through 3 are my favorites.
Yes, yeah.
After this, I'm not as passionate
There's
about
a
it, but you
turn.
got to continue it anyways. There's a turn because Rory goes to college. And so, what I love about Gilmore Girls is the townies and Lorelai and Rory hanging out in Stars Hollow more than anything. So when you move Rory and put her in Collegeville, at Yale in the Ivy League, it does change the dynamic of the show. Now, there's plenty of things. She comes home to do her laundry all the time and all the stuff that gets her back in the town, but it does change and shift. Lorelai and Sookie are starting to build out what is then going to be known as the Dragonfly Inn. So a lot of the season is directed at that. And Lorelai and Rory are kind of on these new paths, somewhat without each other. I mean, they're still in each other's lives, but it's just a different dynamic.
Hey y'all, it's Jennifer here. And listen, Christina and I love Gilmore Girls so much, we ended up talking, it was almost 3 hours. And that's a really long podcast to ask anybody to sit through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into 2 different parts. Part 1 is what you've just watched and listened to, where we talked about seasons 1 through 3. Part 2, which will be released later, we'll chat about seasons 4 through 7, the college years and beyond, and also a little bit about the Netflix revival series, A Year in the Life. So subscribe and make sure that you come back to catch part 2 when it drops.